YouTube, and welcome back to my random thoughts on Thursdays. This week I'm going to talk about something I want to call legislating salvation. So I've been thinking a lot lately, and as most of you probably know, and if you're new to my vlog channel, you know I am an atheist. I am not a militant atheist. I honestly don't care what other people believe. If you're Christian, Muslim, Buddhist, whatever. Flying spaghetti monster. You can believe whatever you want. I don't care. As long as you don't try and push your belief onto me. And over the years, I've met a lot of different people, a lot of fundamentalist Christians especially, some, very fundamentalist Muslims. The only religious group that I know of that isn't very pushy about their religion are Jewish people. And so I want to say right now out there, if you're Jewish, thank you. I have no beef with you guys whatsoever. I see this mostly with Christians in the US because the majority of religious folks in the US are Christian. There are, obviously Muslim and Jewish and other people as well, but vast majority, I think, of believers are Christian in this country. And they're the most vocal in this country as well, from what I can tell. And so this is completely US based. I'm not making any assumptions about other countries and that kind of thing, so just keeping that in mind. But, with this whole thing with Hobby Lobby and, the religious right of the employer because of their religion to not want to cover certain health benefits for their employees because it conflicts with their religious beliefs and all this stuff. And then all of these creationists trying to get creationism taught in schools, either along with evolution or instead of evolution. And the instead of is the concerning part, in my opinion. But over the years, like I said, I've met a lot of different types of religious people. Majority of them have been Christian. There have been some Muslim as well, who seem to think that as soon as they find out that I'm an atheist, that they make it their life's mission to save my soul. And lead me to salvation, and in the term, and for the Christians, help me find Jesus. The man died over 2,000 years ago. Just drop it already. That ain't gonna happen. And usually they'll be on me for about 6 months or so. If I know them in person. If I know them online, I can just block them and just go away. But I've known a number of these people in person. Who would pester me and peck at me for months at a time. Eventually they'd give up because it wasn't going to happen. It really wasn't, I have read the Bible, I've read the Quran. I actually had a class in college where I had to take some kind of religious studies course, even though it was a public university, which seemed odd to me, but I figured, well, since I already knew the Bible, I'd read it previously. I was at a private Christian school when I was younger and things, and I'd read it just out of curiosity anyway. I was a voracious reader when I was younger. I'd read everything, and so I definitely did read through the Bible. And with the religious studies requirement, I said, well, since I already know the Christian stuff, let's look at the Muslim stuff. And so I took a class on that and read through an English translation of the Quran. And I was like, well, it's kind of similar to the Bible. There's some really wacko stuff in there, though, like something about Allah splitting the moon in half, and all of these religions have really weird stuff, in my opinion. But let me kind of stay on topic here. But over time, people would eventually give up trying to save me because it just wasn't going to happen. And I almost have to wonder if, the religious folks in this country, especially the Christians, are so concerned now that there's, growing secular movement in this country. Not necessarily towards atheism. There's a lot of people going towards agnosticism or just being spiritual but not religious. And so not, believing in their Jesus and all this stuff. or just not following, organized religion of any kind, but maybe still believing in a God, but, just becoming more and more secular. And these people, honestly, for some reason, think that it is their duty to save those of us who are secular, of one flavor or another. Like, they have to bring Jesus into our lives and bring us to salvation, otherwise we will, suffer the damnation of hell for eternity after we die and all this stuff. And if they don't save us before we die, then they failed as Christians or something. At least that's the gist I get from the people I've personally known. And with this rise of trying to legislate people to learn creationism and to be able to to dictate their religious beliefs onto others, like their employees and stuff, it almost makes me wonder if there isn't some underlying movement, whether conscious or subconscious, from these people to try and legislate this salvation, since obviously talking to us isn't working. Trying to actually sit down and talk to us to save our souls isn't doing any good. The whole door-to-door Jehovah's Witness thing and Mormon thing doesn't work. For those of us who are staunchly non-believers in whatever way, it's like, thanks but no thanks. I'm always polite. I don't slam doors in people's faces and everything, but I'm just like, no thank you. Thankfully, people have gotten a little less pushy on that front. And they'll, like, if I say no thank you, they'll say all right, and then they move on, and they don't bother trying anymore. I still remember back in the day when they were much pushier, to the point where I had to come up with some crazy stuff just to get rid of them. In fact, I remember once when I was 15 and I had a family. It was like a husband, wife, and 2 little kids came to the door. I believe they were Jehovah's Witness, and they were trying to come down and sit down and pray with me and stuff. And I was in the middle of studying for finals. I think 15, so I was freshman, end of my freshman year of high school, and I was studying, and I had algebra, and I hated it. I sucked at it. I was really stressing about it, and I was really trying to wrap my brain around some stuff, and getting this interruption while I was studying really bothered me. My mom and my grandmother were not home at the time. They were out shopping or something, and I got really ticked off with them because they wouldn't just, like I said, no thank you. They didn't go away. They physically stepped into the foyer of the house we lived in and tried to hand me these pamphlets and like, please can we sit down and talk with you? And I just snapped and I said, I'm sorry, I'm in the middle of a devil worship ceremony upstairs. Could you come back later? Their mouths hit the floor. And they spent the rest of the afternoon on their knees on the sidewalk in front of our house praying. My grandmother and my mom came home a few hours later. They were like, who are these nut jobs praying in front of our house? I told them the story. And even though my mom kind of was a believer, but she didn't go, she was non-practicing. And my grandmother wasn't entirely sure what she believed anymore at that point. But, yeah, they burst out laughing. They thought it was funny too, so. And at this point, I was already pretty convinced of my atheism. I mean, I kind of always had been, but I didn't have a word for it until I was about I think it was about 14 when I finally learned what a person who doesn't believe in a God was called. And I started reading more books about it and reading more books on science and what science actually had to say about where humans came from, rather than, what I had learned in Sunday school and stuff. And that's the other thing is with this whole legislation in certain states for teaching creationism in public school. In my opinion, it's like, isn't that something that belongs in Sunday school? And is this push to get it in the public school part of, they're concerned because fewer and fewer people, like their congregations are shrinking, people aren't going to church and therefore not sending their kids to Sunday school. And maybe that's part of why there's this huge push to try and get it into the public schools to try and get all the kids to believe in this crap. I don't know. It's my hypothesis slash opinion. I have no scientific basis around this thing, but you know, it's just like, stop trying to legislate saving the souls of people, because what if there is no such thing as a soul? You know, and plus it's our choice if we want to believe in something or not. You can't force people to believe in something that they don't. I mean, you know, if we had martial law in this country and we were forced to go to church and pray and all this stuff, sure, I could go to church. I could, you know, pretend to pray or even pray out loud if you made me. It's not going to make me believe, you know. I mean, I could go through all the stupid motions that you want me to go through. It's not going to make me believe. It's not going to change what's in my head. And so I don't get why, you know, there's this people that are trying to push this on the rest of us who don't want to, and just don't believe. Just, you know, we aren't going to believe. So anyway, that's my kind of rambling rant for this week. If you like my vlogs, please give them a thumbs up. Please share them with the world. And if you're not subscribed yet, I would love a subscription. But until next week, take care. Bye-bye.